Welcome to the What's Already podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Matt Senheiner.
I'm back. Better read than dead.
And Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification buttons. Tell a friend about us. Tell a family member about us. Tell some baseball players, Little League baseball players about us. That'll be as close as you're probably going to find these days when it comes to baseball. But we will appreciate them listening. Don't make them too young because we are a little offensive for young ears. But with all that said, we're in week 3 of summer kickoff, summer movies. It's crazy to think about week 3 of June. And yeah, we are off and running. And we're keeping it up with The Sandlot. It was released April 7th, 1993. It was written and directed by David Mickey Evans. It stars, let me gear up for this, Tom Geary, Mike Vitar, Art LaFleur, Patrick Renna, Chauncey Leopardi, Marty York, Brandon Quinton Adams, Grant Gelt, Shane Obadzinski. Why'd you have a shitty name like that? Victor DiMattia, Dennis Leary, and James Earl Jones, with Karen Allen and a whole shit ton more. Funnily enough, including my brother-in-law's ex-wife and his sister are in this movie. So, yeah, there it is. This movie is about the summer of 62. A new kid in town is taken under the wing of a young baseball prodigy and his rowdy team, resulting in many adventures. I feel like that's like such a shitty synopsis in general for this movie.
Really bad.
But, yeah. All right, Mattson, I think this was your pick, right?
I believe it was. I mean, when we're talking about summer movies, and I mean, the kid, his biggest fear initially is he moved in right before the summer, and he says, didn't really have time to make friends. And thinking back to your childhood, I mean, that would put the fear of God in me if I moved like right at the end of the school year. Like, oh, like what am I gonna do? Especially back in the day, not nearly as hard as people actually played outside. Like that's all I did. Like we played hockey, rode bikes, playground, all kinds of stuff, RC cars. But these days, like, kids even go outside? I don't really see them anymore. Like they just play on their video games, hop on online. But this movie makes me think of summer, and especially the pool scene. I mean, just what cinematic gold that gets me every time, makes me laugh. Every pre-pubescent or early pubescent boy's dream of swandling an older girl and making your crush dreams come true. And later on, he actually married the girl. So, like doing it right. But to me, there's just so much to like about this movie. You got your carefree summer, a kid trying to find his identity and his confidence, and then wrapped up in another good thing you do in your childhood is you believe in legends and rumors, and you make something bigger than what it is. And I love the Beast. And I also like that the Beast turns out to be a lovable giant. And at least 2 of the people on this podcast are big time dog lovers. So always good to see a slobbering mouth. But so much to say about this movie, but I've always liked it because I saw it when I was young, and not like I'm the biggest baseball fan, but I just think there's a lot to like about it, and it just makes me laugh and makes me smile and makes me remember my childhood and remember what summers were like when you actually had a summer and could do what you want. And I mean, I'd love to go back to that feeling because being an adult sucks.
That's fair. What about you, Alec? You were a little young when this came out. And by that, I mean you weren't even born yet, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. I was born in 93.
So same year, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it beat me.
That's fair. That's fair.
Full days. What I really like about this movie is how much it stood the test of time. So it's crazy now that like these kids are grown up, right? And they are in many ways more closely tied to baseball than several professional baseball players are tied to baseball. And that's pretty cool. Like they struck lightning in a bottle with The Sandlot, in terms of cheesy kid movies that just will not go away and only seem to get bigger and bigger the longer it's been out. It's crazy. And I mean, it's never a bad time to sit down and watch The Sandlot. Heavily quotable, just super entertaining, and you never leave feeling upset. It's so cool. I love it.
It's true.
I mean, to that point, the curly redheaded kid, the one that says
the great Hambino.
Yeah, Hambino. Thank you.
For some respect.
It was like a month ago or something. I wish I could remember it more. They did some paired with him at a MLB baseball stadium, and he showed up, and like him and I think one or two other people from Sandlot. And they just did that like a month ago or something. So it's still deeply tied to baseball lore.
Yeah. Well, he just recently was on. He went and hit
Savannah Bananas.
The Savannah Bananas, yeah.
Oh, did it? Let me see. That's like, I mean, they could bring them all back, that'd be perfect. That's like, it was like made for him.
Well, so as you probably know, this was filmed in Utah, and 2 years
I didn't
ago.
know that.
Oh yeah, filmed mostly up in Ogden, but a couple other places in Utah there. In fact, I think the Sandlot was down by where the actual field is still there. And I think it was closer to down by you. I don't remember where exactly it's at, but where you were anyway. Yeah, but like, so 2 years ago in the 30th anniversary or whatever it was, they brought for a Bees game. Casey and I went to it. They brought them the whole fucking team back, I think, except for like one guy.
Out of the Bees,
but
MLB, I'd be like, oh yeah, they do that, but the Bees being like a AAA or whatever, that's surprising. That's cool.
Yeah, and it mostly because it was they're the Utah team, the Salt Lake team, and then the fact that it was filmed here in Utah, they brought them out. It was like the 30th. They were doing a whole lot of shit for it that year in 2003, so it was pretty fun, or 23 rather. So it was pretty funny. But they came out and hung out after the game. Like they were there the whole game, and like you could go get autographs and take pictures and shit. And then they hung out for a while after the game was over down on the field, and you could go out, and it was cool. Like we didn't hang around, but we did hang out and go and watch the game. And that's back when we were going to Bees games a little bit more. And then they moved the stadium, and it's just too far to go now. So for me anyway, I'm not that much into lower level baseball. I'll just go watch the Ogden Raptors and call it good. But yeah, so it's, for me, The Sandlot like took on a light. Well, I grew up with this movie because I was 12 when it came out, and I was still playing, Pee Wee baseball, or I guess I was getting into more Pony League stuff. But like I played baseball from the time I was 5 years old until I graduated high school, and so I love baseball. And so this movie for me was like, this was on all the time as a kid because it was funny. It was relatable to me. And yeah, and back then I liked summer versus now where I'm like, fuck, turn off the sun. But back then I loved it. So this was a great movie, great choice for this. And then I moved out to Utah, ironically enough, between my sophomore and junior year of high school in the summer, which was terrible. But then I found out, like later on in life, like I said, my brother-in-law was talking about the fact that his sister and ex-wife are in the pool scene, and like I've been to a bunch of the places where they filmed all this stuff just by nature of being here, and I was like, I'm gonna go check out the Sandlot field, and I'm gonna go check out. Rick's like, we could go to the pool, and we'll show you where it's at. So it was wild. But this movie's just fun. Like there's no time that I've watched it that I just haven't been thoroughly entertained and had a great time. And yeah.
What's your favorite scene, Jay? If you had to pick one, what gets you the most giggles?
Dude, it's the flashback scene in the freaking in the treehouse, like the forever, like that whole black and white where it's like that scene just makes me giggle. Like when it comes to laughs and funny, like that's Matt said, I don't know what to do. Like I feel like we've moved from movie review podcast to like erotic streaming. Right?
Sorry, I had to.
Just
I had
like
to eat some-
milking on your fingers right now, dude. It's just like, I'm like, how far back there do those go, dude? Like, you got some skills. I'm just saying. $20, dude. Sorry, I got fucking.
Hey, for our
seriously
podcast
distracted
listeners,
there,
if you're wanting to see something, just jump on YouTube.
but- yeah.
Let me save you the trouble. Don't jump on
Oh,
YouTube for that.
I love the. I mean, there's so many scenes. I mean, pool scene for me probably takes it, but the same kid. What's the kid with the glasses that
Squints.
Squints. Did you even watch the movie?
Yeah, I did. I just watched. I don't remember all the names. I'm like JJ with
Yeah,
some of
there
that
you go.
stuff. When they're doing the whole mission to try and retrieve the ball with all the different ways, I just love when like he's like, pull it up. He's just like, or he's like, you got it.
Yeah.
That always makes me laugh because he's like, yeah, and you're
Yeah.
like, but every time he's like, he's so hopeful, and then the beast just obviously ruins plans, and I love all the different. I mean, it's so ludicrous, like the 3 vacuum thing. I'm like, I don't even know, would that even work? Probably not, but it looked cool. Like all those different attempts, just pretty great. And I love how they make the beast with all their memory and the things they've seen, like look like it weighs like, I don't know, like it's a mountain lion that weighs like 2,000 pounds or something, and chucked out it's not Kinects, but the metal thing that they use, the little robot they made. I'm like, I don't know how that worked when obviously the dog's not that big. So did they was that part of the lore? Who knows? But that's the part of the, I mean, it's just fun because that's the part of the movie I really like. But I wanted to, Jay, do you not like the narration where they use that from time to time to like fill in gaps of the story, or is that passable for you?
No, actually, like the story relies on it. And to kind of tie into what you were talking about, the reason it makes sense, like when I watch this movie, one of the things that I love the most about it is the fact that because we're getting it secondhand, like I can't tell you how many times I tell stories from when I was a teenage, like a young kid, and it exaggerates and it grows. Even though I'm a fucking 44-year-old man, I'll still add in some zest to a story here and there from when I was a kid. And like, so the narration makes sense to me because it's the adult version of him telling this story. And so as I look at it as a kid, it was just a fun movie, right? And it was just hilarious, and I could relate to these kids. And I would have probably tried to think of, can we connect 3 vacuum cleaners to get enough suction to get a ball out of this place, right? Because we would have done dumb shit like that instead of just knocking on the door and asking for the ball. But as an adult watching it, like it makes a ton of sense from the perspective of this was the greatest summer of their lives and it never was connected again. And so these over the top pieces of storytelling like make sense to me, because like how much more fun is it if you're trying to tell a bunch of kids this crazy story that's really on its core probably very boring. You did a bunch of dumb shit and tried to get this ball back, but when you add in the zest of it from you're telling this story, and you're like, yeah, we put 3 fucking vacuum cleaners together into one vacuum head and sucked that sucker up, and then the beast like drug it under the fence and threw it over, and like I love that aspect that it not only applies when I'm a kid and it's fun and interesting. I'm like, I want to go do all that shit, but as an adult, I'm like, yeah, I embellish some shit like that too. Like it's especially depending on your audience, right? And he's talking, in my opinion, to kids because it's a kids movie. So he's got to make it more interesting and long lasting and fun. And so I love that aspect because it makes perfect sense in this particular movie. What I don't like is when someone gets lazy as fuck and they're like, well, I got a 4-hour movie I want to make, but I need to make it 2. So I'm going to have this voice tell half the story in a voiceover. That shit drives me crazy. But in this case, it's a valid question.
Jay, would you be, or were you a trash talker playing sports?
Oh yeah, dude. I played catcher 3/4, probably half the time I was in playing baseball, and I was absolutely fucking just like him. Like I was talking shit constantly. And in high school, like it's shit that I wouldn't like repeat to my mother. But in little kid stuff, it was just like you didn't know what to say. So most of the time you're just like running your mouth. I wish I was good at it as he is in the movie. But yeah, like I used to talk a lot of shit behind the plate. If I could distract somebody, that was I used to point out pretty girls as they'd walk by the like stands, and you get real lucky if it was one of their sisters. Because then I'm right. Yeah, then I'm really distracted you. So, but yeah, oh yeah, that was my favorite pastime.
Yeah, you seem like you'd be like the Hambino and trash talk it up. Yeah, when they play the baseball team, pretty great. When they just totally wax them and everyone plays great. The other thing I always forget and love is when gosh, I can't remember the main character. Why am I forgetting his name? It's so stupid.
Smalls.
Yeah, and you're killing me, Smalls. Yeah, his hat that he wears. I'm like, did those hats exist? Like, were those fishing hats? Like, I only see them in this movie. And then like some old timey baseball movies, and they were a little longer, not even as long as that. Like that hat always gets me. I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
What in the world?
That's because back then they weren't a fashion statement. They were in the 90s when this movie was being made. They were becoming a fashion statement versus a baseball cap was meant to keep the fucking sun out of your eyes while you're playing baseball. Now it's like
bad luck.
It's all about the fashion statement. But yeah, that was ridiculous. I love it.
It gets me every single time.
Yeah. I love the different aspects too. Like I laugh at the part where Benny hits the ball like into his glove, like, and he like can put it anywhere. Cause that's one of those things that to me is more ridiculous almost than a dog throwing the fucking crumpled up vacuum cleaner over the fence.
Oh yeah. When he puts a little spit on him, like, bro,
yeah, like,
that ain't putting it right on the glove. I'm sorry.
But I love this. But again, the storytelling aspect of it. Cause like, I think back when I was this age, living in Ohio, I played baseball, Little League baseball with a kid named Misha Lang. And I swear to you, like we were like 10, dude, 9 or 10 years old when I was on the same team as Misha. But the kid could throw the ball hard. Like he pitched, and we had just started getting into like self-pitch league age. And the kid he could throw the ball very hard. So to another 8 or 9 year old, like it felt like he was throwing 100 miles an hour. Kid's probably throwing 30 miles an hour, but it felt like and he was really good across the board at baseball as well. Like he was, he was just really good. And so he would be that kid. Like when I would think back, like I always go, oh, he's our Misha. Cause I talk about him now. I'm like, this kid was throwing 70 miles an hour in 3rd grade. And I'm like, I know it's bullshit, but when I was a kid, like he'd throw the ball. I'm like, man, if he fucking hits me with that, like, and he hit me once in practice and it left seam marks on my knee, like on the inside of my knee. That's how hard he threw the ball, but God bless, like it wasn't. But so I think about that spot and how Benny's just like this superhero that can do anything. I'm like, that's so funny because he was probably a phenomenal baseball player. He plays in the bigs at the end, but
I was going to say clearly, he was very good.
But it's so funny to me. Yeah, like that's another aspect that I always smile at when I watch this, like knowing he wasn't that good. Nobody
is the mom in this. Is she the Indiana Jones chick from? Yeah, I didn't realize it till this time. I was like, wait, why didn't I ever piece that together? Because I watched both these movies enough. I should totally know that, but I never did for some reason.
Yep, that's her.
Yeah,
good stuff.
And then I love the part where they have to trade in the baseball and it's funny. He's in. I should be able to. I can't name his name right now. The actor that he's in another baseball movie, but it was like they were just like, oh, he did so good to Field of Dreams. We just got to put him in.
James Earl Jones.
Yeah, James Earl Jones.
You were pulling your best JJ impression today, dude.
I know. I know. Maybe I don't want to access my brain right now, but I love him in this movie too because you could. I guess he's blind, but like half the time I'm like, I swear he just can see, and he's just like effing with these kids and just having a good time. But like how giddy he is. Once he finally realizes that he can trade this ball and have people to talk to and all that, like it gets me every time. I'm like, he just looks too dang happy because I'm used to him being just like a grump, but I love him.
Yeah, he's got maybe my favorite line in this whole movie. Arguably, it's hard because there's so many, as Alec pointed out. Like this thing is so wildly quotable, but when he's like, "George signed this," I'm not kidding. You're not in trouble. You're dead where you stand. Like that line is just so good to me. But yeah, for a 2-minute clip, like he absolutely steals the show like that. And that's the talent of James Earl Jones. But like, I love that part too, where they go in and they're actually talking to him and him telling the story of getting hit in the head and going blind. Yeah, it's great. And I love his first, like, why don't you just come ask me? Because that's such a like, and that. So when I was a little kid again in Ohio, I used to live across the street from my cousin, and next door to him was these family with triplets, the Gordon girls, and then right next to them was this old lady, and I don't remember her name, which is unfortunate. But she had this big garden and this big lush backyard with the garden in it, and the corn was always growing and stuff. Well, all three of these backyards, my cousins and then the Gordon family, their backyards connected, and they didn't have fences back there. It was just you could walk from one backyard to the other, and there wasn't a road between their house and the houses behind them. They were connected backyards unless they put a fence up. Well, the old lady had put a fence up, and we used to play baseball and wiffle ball more often than not, so we didn't break windows, in the backyard of my cousin Robbie and his family, and then the Gordon's backyard. They used to let us come over and use their backyard. We'd play one, more like cricket than baseball, really, because we just have one base. It was long base, but every time we hit a baseball or a wiffle ball into the old lady's yard, it was the same reaction. I don't want to go in over there. She's gonna be so mad. She's just this little old lady, dude. But at 10 years old, you're like, I'm not going and knocking on her door. We just lost another wiffle ball, boys.
See, for us, we played baseball, but it was mainly hockey and some soccer. But we always played in the cul-de-sac. We had these Russian neighbors. They're still there. They've lightened up quite a bit, but I don't think they understood when they first moved in. Our neighborhood was chocked full of, it was a new neighborhood. And so it was just kids galore. Like everybody was out. Like most of the neighborhood was playing hockey. One time they decided to call the cops on us playing hockey in the cul-de-sac. And I remember the cops came. The only thing they said at the end was like, hey, you all should be playing with helmets. And they just left because what are they going to do? Like, we're just playing hockey in the cul-de-sac. And then they also called the cops on 4th of July when everyone was using illegal fireworks. And I remember the cops were like, yeah. Bye. Funny how neighbors will do so. But the soccer, he actually used to be my little pee-wee soccer coach, Juan, our neighbor that's still there as well. This I feel bad about because now being a homeowner, I'd be pretty pissed. We played soccer in our yard and used the side of his yard as a goal. We see these two like trees that worked out perfectly that were like ferns, but yeah, he ended up planting bushes in the middle of them. I think because before they were there, when we'd shoot, like we were shooting and it just smashed into his siding. Like we made just actually hit it. And then he planted bushes, which helped. But then I thought, I was like, man, we really did him dirty because we like physically beat his house. And now being like a homeowner, I'd be like, I'd have been like really mad. He was a good sport about it, but like I'm sure they're just sitting in their house. I was like, what? Like, it's like
yeah, that's a patient dude right there.
Yeah, like very much so. To the point now, we've told him how sorry we were, and he just, I mean, he's a great guy, just laughs it off. But that one, I'm like, yeah, man. Dude, that was bad.
Being a kid, it's so funny. I think about now and the shit that we used to do when we were kids. Like, there's no way we could get away with it today. Like, when my cousin Robbie, my older cousin Robbie, lived directly across the street from us in Ohio, and we used to get tennis balls and tennis rackets, and we would play tennis across the street because it was a quiet little Midwestern street in the middle of fucking nowhere, Ohio. And so we would play tennis, and then if a car would come, we'd stop, right? Well, one day we figured out on accident, I think because I got pissed, and I grabbed a rock and I hit it with the tennis racket, that you could send a rock a really long way with a tennis racket. So we started just fucking blasting these things, and they would go so far. We're like, oh, we're not hitting. You're a kid. You don't recognize the fact that there's still houses as far away as you're hitting these rocks. And eventually some neighbor came down. Again, it's amazing I didn't get in more trouble. If some neighbor came down to our houses and was like, we don't know how it's happening, but it's coming from your place, and we could hear them out running. But we got dings in our cars and shit from rocks getting sent all the way. And so finally I got my ass ripped for fucking, because we just grab these tennis rackets and just swing our nuts off on these rocks and send them. And we'd be like, look out for
very similar. We had a power generator with bushes around. My buddy Houston, they lived in like one of those long driveways that split in two, but they had a generator out front right next to the main neighborhood road. And we just like this. Long story short, things just got progressively worse until we decided we're just going to throw rocks at cars, and then end up hitting I remember it was a red car, and I just remember the door opening and the person got out. I ran into what we called the common grounds, which is like this big like drainage area, and then there was like a forest and a playground. Person never found me, but that was the last time we threw rocks, because I was like, well, I don't want some adult chasing after me. And then the only other, did a lot of dumb things, but the one that makes me laugh, I used to have a bow and arrow, like a compound bow that I shot at a target. But like JJ talks, you just get progressively like, oh, I'm doing this, I should just do something. Like I got bored with the target, you're like, I should shoot something else, like I could do better. And so I used to have a forest behind my house, but then they built these homes, and we had these two neighbors behind us, and we used to have our trampoline there, but then they got annoyed because we had so many people that would come, so we ended up taking that down. So didn't vibe with that neighbor, like, and wasn't enjoying it. But for whatever reason, I don't know what I was thinking, I decided I'm gonna shoot this arrow like close to this house. Long story short, I don't know what I was thinking. I shot it like high enough up where it was in their siding hanging out, and I was like, I can't tell them. Like there's no way I'm going to tell them. So I remember I got a ladder and like a really long pole, and I knocked it out of the siding and never told them. To this day, never did. And they finally replaced the siding, but it was it was a sizable chunk. Like if you looked, you'd be like, what the freak happened to my siding right here? Like, just never told him, never told anybody. Now I guess I told the world now, but
yeah,
that was probably one of, and I don't remember if I was with friends. I think it was just me, and I don't know what I was thinking. Like, what was I doing? But like, I just remember the visual just hanging up, like, oh man, like I gotta go address that.
Yeah, the shit we did before.
Sandlot, baby,
video games all day long.
Stupid stuff we do, but that's why I love the movie, because it makes me think about childhood shenanigans and playing sports with their friends outside. And if there is anyone from the younger generation, I don't think anyone listens to us that are young enough that are still out doing this, but like, go outside, go have some fun. Like, don't just be stuck in your video game system or watching social media. I think that's the sad thing today is,
go really shoot arrows at your neighbors.
Why not? Why not?
Hit rocks with a racket.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't see kids out. This just doesn't really happen anymore.
Yeah. I mean, we used to,
because they're smarter than us.
Well, that's fair too. We used to get in BB gun fights. That's because we didn't have shit to do. Like, I beat the Nintendo game, and mom and dad aren't going to buy me a new one, so I got to go do some shit. Or dad wants to take a nap, so he literally kicked my ass out of the house and locked the fucking door. And even when I was thirsty, he told me to go drink from the fucking spigot. So it's like, yeah, that's how I lived.
Don't throw firecrackers at geese. Just
yeah,
say that. They're much more intimidating than they look.
They hurt too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're mean.
The best part is you can't tell if you were talking about the firecracker or the geese.
Yes. Also, don't throw golf balls at fucking swans. You think geese are intimidating? You should have a swan, which, by the way, is as tall as you, if not taller, when they're pissed and their wings are out. This is a big ass bird.
No, I learned after the geese. I had an opportunity for some swans when I put in the new day. No. Yep. I was a little bit older, certainly wiser at that point. Did not make the attempt on that one.
I learned about swans, and then as an adult, I broke into a golf course to get in the pond to get free golf balls. And the golf course was called Swan Lakes for a reason. We saw swans and decided we were not going to go get golf balls. By my urging because I was like, no, I'm not going in there. There's a swan in there. The fucker will eat you. What dumb shit did you get up to, Alec? I'm afraid to ask
Alec,
because I feel like there's like some jail time involved if anybody found out.
The statute of limitations has about 2 more years to run. We'll circle back.
That's great. That's great. Future episode, the dumb shit that Alec got.
JJ, how many animals died under your care?
Like
not like
talking about like me mutilate. You know what? I shot a bird once when I was like 8 years old with a BB gun, and I felt so bad about it. I never actually killed another animal until I was like hunting or fishing or like there was a purpose to it. But like me just being an asshole and be like, I got a BB gun and there's a bird. I only did that once, and it like tortured my soul, so I didn't do it.
The only time I tried to intentionally kill something was pigeons on my mission. But in my childhood, I had some, like you come across a turtle or like baby birds when you thought their mother wasn't coming back.
Mm.
Those birds died because I fed them, then put them out in like a little fort. Snakes ate them. And then the mom came back the next day. Not even joking. Like that one still to this day, because I go home and I know right where they were. And then right where the mom flew out. I'm like, oh man, like I can't believe I did that. But the one that makes me feel even worse is there was a turtle. I was coming home from elementary school. I would think I was in 5th grade. And I took it home, hung out with it for like a week, put it in my mom's like jacuzzi tub and had the mirror, gave it lettuce. It was great. Like it was fun enough. I was like, I should probably like, let's put it back. So I was going on the bus. I don't remember one of the days I let it out. And I remember coming home, I was walking the same way. And I was like, wait, something's a little pancaked on the road.
No.
Like, what could that be? Dude, it had to have been the turtle because it looked just like the turtle, the top of it. It was totally pancake flattened. That was the last time I tried to take any wildlife under my care because that one, I felt so bad. I was like, I had a good time with it and just totally flattened. Like,
oh no,
totally dead. And I was devastated. I was like, that thing did not deserve what happened to it. And it had to have died like very soon after I left, probably within minutes after I got on the bus, like, because I don't know, like, just felt terrible.
Not only that, but you fucked up somebody's tire and probably alignment because hitting a turtle's like hitting a fucking boulder, dude. That shit's terrible.
Felt bad. Yeah, and like my hamsters died tragically as well. That wasn't my fault. One bled in my hand, the other my mom killed because it liked to hang out behind our dryer with the lint, and it wasn't coming out soon enough. This was Bubba after Harry had died, and my mom started to move the dryer and I guess punctured it with the corner. I'll never forget, on the white linoleum flooring, all of a sudden a trail of blood comes out and totally had killed it right there. And
wow.
Yeah.
Matthew's reliving some shit this episode.
Yeah, no shit, dude. Sandlot's bringing back memories.
Doing some trauma unpacking.
Yeah, those hamsters the first year I had them, I wasn't ready. I put them on trampolines and jumped them to like my height. I put them in my old sister's dollhouse, and I had to grease Bubba's butt because it started to get purple to get him out with butter because he got stuck.
Oh my God. Animal cruelty over here.
I know. Hey, I'm great to him, Bubbers. He's a special dog, but I never
had rodents or anything like that.
There's more stories I could get into, but only a couple more. But I was pretty cursed with like things that animals that I found, and I don't do that because it doesn't end well.
I think my parents knew. I never had I had a dog, and that was it. Like growing up, like we had little dogs, and that. I think my parents knew he's too bored. He's too ADHD at the time, ADD, and he can't he'll never take care of anything. We barely get him to feed this dog. So yeah, I don't think I ever got anything because of the fear that I would probably.
And look at you now. Your dogs are your life.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, we kind of got sidetracked on Sandlot, but it was pretty funny. But yeah, I don't even know what else to say. We spun Sandlot into childhood traumas, childhood good times.
Well, we didn't hear anything about Alex.
Fifth Amendments from Alec.
Yeah.
pleading the fifth and shit. Like, yeah, statute of limitations. It's good times. So, Sandlot. You know what? I will say this before we're done. The Sandlot, the one thing about has always annoyed me about Sandlot is the fucking kid that repeats his brother every goddamn time.
Oh yeah,
Every goddamn time.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But
Fucking
it's not but
no,
yeah.
is the
I know. I was just trying to say Then.
what is
I
the
agree
kid's
with you.
name? I don't
remember that
Timmy or
little.
Tommy.
Yeah,
I think it's Timmy, and they call him like no, it's Tommy Repeat. They call him
Yeah.
Repeat.
Tom repeat.
Yeah, I hate it. That drives me nuts.
But there was always that kid.
Yeah, and I would always be like, "Say it again, motherfucker." When I was a kid, repeat my ass one more time and see what happens. Oh shit! All right, should we rate this movie we barely talked about?
Let's do it.
All right, Matt, so kick us off, buddy.
I mean, do we want to get that deep into the metaphor of Sandlot? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
For what this movie is, I'm giving this movie a 5. I love this movie. This movie, I'll watch it anytime, anywhere. Obviously, it takes me down the trips of memory lane, whether it's a memory I really should be happy about or some that a little more depressing when you really think about what happened and what little life that you crushed. But I loved my summers, even though my mom would make me do a bunch of like cursive writing and math before I could go out and do anything, which it was like basically mini school, but not having homework really and a sense of responsibility. I think that's what I miss most about true summers when you grew up. I'd love to go back to that right now. But so is the life of being an adult. But I think that's what the Sandlot captures for me is it transports me back to a time in my life when you're that young, you want to get old. But when you're this old, you want to get young. And the Sandlot just makes me happy. And I think, like JJ talked about, you always embellish stories, especially those that are from that long ago. And just a good time, good watch. Just makes me laugh. And I'll watch it again real soon.
Alec, what about you, buddy?
5, easy 5. Like there's the kid aspect that's fun, but you also have a little bit of nice words of wisdom in there as well. Like from Art LaFleur. Like quote that sticks with me is the heroes and legends, right? Heroes live forever, legends never die.
Legends never die.
Like that's some dope ass shit for a summer kids movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a 5. I'll watch this anytime, anywhere. Easy.
Yeah. Same. It's a 5. Like no matter, I could point out a couple of different things that always make me smile and things that I'm like, what? And I still get giggles about the fact that a pair of shoes, like to them, made a difference.
No.
You know, like
They're PF Flyers. Here.
PF Flyers guaranteed to make a kid run faster and jump higher, and you're like, they basically look the exact same from what he's wearing.
Well, and I think part of it too is makes me laugh because I remember being that moron that thought like pumps were going to make me better at basketball. Yeah. Like, you know, I got a little basketball pump on the front of my shoe, so it's going to make me a better basketball player. It didn't. I was horrible at basketball. So, but yeah, like there's a lot of nostalgia for this movie, but it's still a lot of fun as an adult, and I see different things. Plus, it's always fun to see people that I know in it. And I forgot a friend of mine, Gabe, was on the other baseball team that they play. Mm-hmm. So he's on it too. And I laugh because he always talks about it. And I'm like, man, you talk a lot about that shit, dude. Like, you're fucking almost 50 years old. You got to let that shit go. But I love that dude. Gabe's funny. So yeah, that kind of stuff. But it's just a wholesome, fun, good movie that I love to watch. So 5 for me as well. Man, it's been a while since we've had a 5 across the board movie that one or the other of us or multiples didn't poo-poo somebody for giving it a 5. But yeah, there it is. Sandlot. Good stuff. Alec, tell everybody where they can find us.
Happy to. So thank you for tuning in to week 3 of Summertime Months. This really, I think, turning point for us in the month for week 3, coming out strong. Special thanks to Charles and Rich for go ahead and giving us the selection of movies. If you guys want to get involved in movie selection, Patreon's the place to do it. Rich and CB or Charles, I can't remember what his name is anymore. Our wonderful patrons are the masterminds behind the list creation and picks. So don't blame us, blame them for any movies that you do not agree with. But Patreon's a place to get involved. It's completely free to vote. So if you want to get involved in the content that we put out, join us there at What's Our Verdict Reviews to get involved in all the content creation. Fun times. With that, I'll kick it back to, and I'm so glad the nicknames finally come full circle, because this is what inspired it a year and a half ago. To the King of Crash, the Sultan of Swat, the Great Bambino, JJ.
I will say that is the one place where Timmy and Tommy make me laugh, because they say the same nickname right after each other. That shit's funny. Yeah, thanks, Alec. I was been looking forward to this this sign off pitch since we decided to put this one on the list that he got voted for. But yeah, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!